like the first day, like I did Friday and Saturday. So
I did.
You Fridays are like the days where the shoppers go.
Yeah.
Like, people who go to
Like my Saturday was awesome. Yeah. My Sunday was, but it was also Mother's Day was
Have you
my,
ever gone to sell at the flea market?
no.
Your stuff,
A lot of the
shit.
stuff out there is closed down.
The flea market?
The big guys in Harlem.
Oh, really?
Um,
I mean, that stuff, man, you get there, and they're like jumping in your truck trying to get shit. Like,
did you,
Seriously, they're savages.
did you know that Pam's mom owned a thrift store on the south side for like, until she was 80 something?
I don't know what was it called.
I don't know, but she was telling me about it.
I wonder if it was the one next door to Caparelli's.
Might have been. She had it for so long. She said, and she was like, I would just, when I was done my clothes, I just bring them in and then I get them. I was like, that would have been nice.
Brianna told me
But
that
she
she
had
buys all her clothes from Plato's Closet.
Yeah, that one's a good one. But that's a chain. Plato's Closet is a chain.
Yeah, and she gets all her clothes there, but they also, they're like a resale.
Or a franchise, I should say.
My sister-in-law was telling me that she buys my brother-in-law's clothes because he has a dump truck business.
Mhm.
And he, like, so she buys like, goes in, anything, she only buys stuff under $5. Jeans and stuff like, because he gets oil and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And she's like, he's the only one in the industry that wears designer jeans. 'Cause they're designer jeans, they're
Yeah.
like $100 jeans. $150
You
jeans.
get them for dirt cheap, you know.
$4.
When you go to places like Plato's
Yeah.
Closet, Clothes Mentor.
Yeah.
Well, they've always been like that for
I have
years.
some
It was
jeans
just
that
always
you
hard
get
for
down
men.
there.
Even the Goodwill,
Yeah.
Goodwill, you'll find stuff with tags.
Goodwill
Oh, shit.
downtown, right?
Goodwill has some good coats. They have good jackets, good like blazers and stuff like that. They got tons of them.
Because you were telling me about the one downtown, that when my mom lived in Virginia, we'd always go to the one in Arlington, because that's where all like the politicians
Oh,
live
yeah.
in that area.
Oh,
We would go,
yeah.
it was awesome, they
You probably
always
get some
had
great
good
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
Some
Poncho.
people are trying to pay off their bet on their way out of town.
Yeah.
But I always,
I went to that pawn shop.
Yeah, the one that's on TV, yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
went there.
small, right?
Yes.
Very
It's like
small.
all the way.
There's
Very
a
good.
long line to get
They
in.
have some nice stuff, they have mentor there too, to get to be there.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have nice stuff there too.
but
Now, I agree, there's a lot of value in resale, especially right now when manufacturing slows down.
yeah.
And it's hard to get stuff, just reselling freaking appliances right now, you can make.
Gosh.
I bought a new fridge last night. It was really painful, but anyway.
Oh, I saw your
Well,
post.
you needed it.
I needed
because
it
kept
really
going
bad.
How
down.
much did it cost?
Well, I got the one on clearance. That was originally 3,800 and it had a few dings in it,
Mhm.
and I got it for 2,000.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Yeah.
about right.
It's,
That's not bad.
it's the Samsung with
That's
the
the high end.
screen and everything,
Oh,
and like
really?
French doors, yeah. And it just, they said like they delivered it and it was returned and it got dings, they put on clearance. And they had it listed for like 23, but of course we talked to the sales guy because we bought like a vacuum too. And they're like, okay, we'll do it. It was awesome.
Totally not opposed to dings and dents
No.
because you're gonna get dings and dents
I-
on everything anyway.
I would never
Like,
have a refrigerator
why?
with these and this and that.
For $1,800 less, whatever. Yeah, but thrift stores, I mean, that's all I bring August to, well, the clearance racks for August, but in thrift stores, because she destroys all
You know, I
the
shop at
clothes.
thrift stores.
Yeah, she paints them and cuts
So I paid a
them.
lot of money yesterday. We have bought those boots.
Ah, which ones did you get?
They were, name brand.
The
Which
Casey.
is the one I can use?
No. I'm gonna buy the ones I can get.
You're gonna buy those. For you or for me?
For me.
Okay.
We're gonna buy which ones?
Well, I found out that leather is called, shit, what is it called? Bomber leather.
Okay.
Like, I guess like the bomber jacket.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
guessing.
like a bomber jacket? Okay.
It's soft leather around the
Oh,
boot.
okay.
So you don't feel, I hate boots because I hate that feeling of having a cup around my, like rubbing against you, right?
Mhm.
Well, this is, it's kind of collapsing.
Mhm. So it pulls and it's soft against
It's
your
soft.
skin.
It's soft.
Okay. And the boots you got him,
They're not like that.
where did you get them?
We got them in a boot line.
Okay.
but they were, dang, what was it? It's not an expensive. I mean, we only paid like $200.
Okay.
And he bought jeans too, because he's never owned, he bought 2 pairs of jeans. And he's never owned like no, jeans, he's never owned like boot cut jeans.
Okay.
Like, all the jeans that they buy, they usually have holes in them, so.
So just got some regular,
These are regular.
regular boot jeans.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a pair that are solid whitewash, so it's not stressed,
Sure.
right?
But, yeah,
I looked online, because I always found the jeans at the same price. The brand I want, they don't seem to have in that solid whitewash without the stress.
Yeah.
so,
I can't find the whitening.
it's funny, because I like comfort. A lot. I like, if I'm gonna buy a boot, I want them to be comfortable, right? Otherwise I won't wear it. But I noticed that the boots that I like are not good dancing boots. Because they have like a good rubber sole, and you can't really dance in them.
No.
So yesterday I was trying on boots that had a leather sole, which is what my son wanted. I was freaking sliding all over the damn, store, because there's all, those places are all seedy. It's kind of slippery.
And then you can dance in them,
I can dance in them,
you know,
yeah,
like all day out walking to the next.
but I probably fall breaking my neck, just walking.
I still haven't gone over to little friend either, but that's my thing, is, are they good dancing boots? It's a waste of my money if I can't
I
wear them
agree.
out dance. We're supposed to go to Thursday Horse Person, I haven't heard of Western dance in so long, I'm gonna see if I can remember.
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of a big celebration for our little different and,
no, but I mean, in general, I think potentially that's starting to become a bigger.
you know, Roxanne and Rodina and I went out to Forest Sports several weeks ago. And, on a Saturday night, having this thing, she jumped around for the whole student round with herself. She does. And then we were gonna go somewhere this past Saturday, we planned to go, and we forgot it was Mother's Day and stuff, and stuff. And, anyway, I ended up on call, on phone duty. I had no phone duty Saturday, when Saturday started. I ended up on phone duty from 11:40 to 5. Everybody was good to do it, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it, the next one. And then I called her and about that, and I said, anyone volunteer to shift after me, and she said, no, and that's when I'll pay off. And I might have got to listen.
Uh-oh, that works. Listen to good. I never had luck on phone booth, right?
Well, I haven't had any so far, although I did have another guy that I showed you how to.
So one time I had to give him a phone booth. Morning. I had
But
to
we're
go.
gonna start searching your bag, and make sure you can help with that.
I had phone booth, and I had to go to the appointment, so I couldn't do it, right? And at the time, this girl, there was a new girl in the office, and she shared the office with me. And, I gave her my phone booth, but I was still there for like 30 minutes. Right? Like I was gonna give about 30 minutes before I had to leave. So she took the call, and this was, what, frankly, like 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago? That girl that, I forgot her name, but she was in the same office with me. Anyway, she took that call, and she got a listing and a buyer.
You told me this story. Oh, that's $1 million.
Yes, it was like a $500,000, it was like a $500,000, no, $400,000 listing, and she was buying like a $550 property. So she got two deals out of that call, and I was sitting right there when it happened. What was that girl's name?
Well, I'm not sure, yeah, this is a,
I was on phone duty,
yeah.
but I didn't take the phone duty, and she was new, so I was kind of like, I was in the middle one.
Yeah, that's right, when I buy people, I don't think it's.
I'm friends with her on Facebook,
They
but I
wait, I
don't see
think
her
it's
that
so
much.
mad.
Yeah. I know, right?
I know. So,
Oh, Valerie,
Not that one.
no. You did that. That's all I can think
anyway, I don't know for sure, we're gonna meet and then we'll see, but it's Alabama Ranch.
That's a good one.
Really
It's
nice
probably
girl.
gonna be ready like in about 3 or 4 weeks, but no matter. I
You got that for phone duty?
And then I got a liar too, that was showing today at 5.
Sorry.
Me neither, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I look, like I never get lucky, and then I had to watch somebody take
I
my,
never have
take
either.
my lead.
I haven't either, but Saturday, 2 people gave up phone duty and I happened to be on email, doing some stuff in Independence Title, looking up some stuff I needed. One of the
Oh,
emails-
no, I don't think-
was
okay.
available, and then during my phone duty, she said, there was another one that came after until 5 o'clock, and I said, what the hell? I'm just sitting here in my desk at home, so. I'll just take off.
You just never know.
You never know, exactly. So like I said, it may turn into something, it may not. The showing I have to make at 5, I already know there's a problem with the owner. And the listing agent sounds very defeated. She's an EXP agent, and she seems defeated. Think of this, $265,000 home in the medical center, 2-story, 2 masters, full master down, full master up. 265, 4 bedroom, been on the market 41 days. What do you think the problem is? The seller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the how much right there, and I'm like, and her, the listing agent's name is Tony with the EXP, and I said, well, why is the house in the press range still on? She says, can you guess?
She's already good.
She goes, I just want to get rid of this and never do business with this woman again, that's all she would say. Now, I don't know what we're gonna end up with today. And now she's complaining she only wants to pay 1.5% commission and for the buying seller agent to split it.
Oh, you know, that's interesting that you say that, because I saw on Broker Underground or something, where they were talking about, sellers are asking the buyers to pay for buyers' agent commission.
They're asking to pay for everything,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Title policy.
so I don't know how all this is gonna work out today at 5, but I'm going, we'll see.
If anybody wants to do open houses, stuff, and what I can get. I got one in Alamo Ranch, I got one in Waterford Park, right off of Calabria, both nice, pristine. I have one right off of Sunset, on
Where's the Alamo
this side
Ranch?
of 281, it's in the Riverstone area, nice big lot, it's on a Lone Star Leaf. And then I have another one in Bellmead, anybody ever worked Bellmead, close to Fort Sam, Charlotte Hills.
Oh, that's nice.
I got a mid-century cottage out there with a view, like the parade grounds of Fort Sam and golf.
Is there a bar behind it somewhere? Why is it still there?
You just wanna buy it if there's a market.
It's one of those particular homes, you know, it's only 1,800 square feet, it's 425, but it's a cottage.
That's a really, really good up and coming area too down here. Around Yankee Park and all that.
Yeah, it's real pretty, and it's affordable, it's modernized, too. So it's an older house, but it's got all the bells and whistles now, one new kitchen, bathrooms, all that stuff.
Well, and you know what though, I have a listing like that too, that's kind of a, one that's it's sitting for a while, and it's in Beacon Hill. The problem is that they already, see, people wanna buy them and fix them up themselves.
Beacon Hill's
They don't-
very saturated.
They don't want a house that's already been modernized. They want the old shit. They want, you know what I'm saying?
They wanna relive themselves.
The
Yeah.
thing is to get through the city of San Antonio, like as a contractor, you get through so many things to the house, and then it loses its original charm, like it's.
Yeah, they certainly did that with this house.
Yeah, that area's just been saturated, man, it's kind of lost its, I think it's lost its charm.
Yeah.
I noticed that houses were sitting on the market out there, and I hadn't been messing with them. Los Angeles highest area, there's just too many flips have been done already. So, It's not, it's already regentrified. But they've been at that for 10 years, you know, those areas.
Yeah, working in
Well, they were one of the first ones to kind of,
Yeah, absolutely, right. Yeah, that fringe area of 09, 7209, and then, adjacent area like North Central, you know, the old North Central, is not North Central. So it's a problem. All right, guys, so listing conversion, so this is gonna be an important one, especially right now, given the market conditions, right? Buyer conversion, you know, so like, you know, kind of gets people's interest, maybe not right now, but listings, we definitely want to get listings. So anytime you get a lead, good way to handle it, you know, get your foot in the door, get the meeting, and don't lose it, and try to keep most of the commission. All right, so the purpose of this class is to teach a conversational approach to helping sellers make informed, intelligent listing decisions. The expectation after this class, you should feel confident enough to enter into working relationships with serious sellers. Result 16 of 100 new listings. So we talked about this last week. If you got a bunch, but if you got a bunch of new buyers, it'd probably be hard for you to even service them right now, right, with the inventory. But if you got a bunch of new listings, I mean, your life would be great. So what do we want to do? The plan is to work different types of lead sources, expireds, physicals, network, farming. Physicals might be a thing again, I don't know. Networking has always been a thing. Expireds kind of comes and goes. I would say there's not going to be as many expireds right now, but if there are any expireds, they'd be easy to jump on because if they didn't sell a house in this market, I mean, they're definitely not going to stick with the same realtor. They're going to do something different. Right? So expireds are good. Farming is always good. It costs a lot of money. It takes some time to turn something up, but it's a good lead source. So we want to generate new buyers, new sellers, plug into the client care system, and we want to advertise and get more business off of that. With the yard sign advertising, internet ads, home ad, and just listing marketing. Try to get repeat referral and new business from them. Basic listing conversion is designed for associates wanting to learn and become confident with a proven professional listing conversation. The 5 stages of an effective listing conversation are covered in detail. You learn a complete set of professional scripts and tools designed to set you apart from the competition. Plan scripts and tools are provided. So how important is it nowadays to be set apart from the competition? Probably super important, right? Because I bet you right now, a lot of people don't think that they don't really need a good professional, competent realtor to sell their house. You see somebody sticking in the MLS and put a sign for you, right? But that's really not the case because there's still a lot of issues out there. Working buyers, even getting people that overpay, you know, you want to vet them and make sure that they can actually buy it if it doesn't appraise. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to appraise for over with it. I'm sorry, even if it's a conventional loan, so you have to be real careful with this thing. So they still need a good competent agent. All right, so the financial security of an effective lead converter. So when you're kind of starting out, we're 45 weeks a year. You set one additional appointment. If you get 70% of them to show up to the appointment, that's an additional 32 meetings a year. If you convert only 50% of those, it's an additional 16 total listings. I would think you're going to sell more than 50% of the listings in this market. So even if you're just a novice, I mean, it's still at least an extra deal a month, I would say. So even if you're new, and even if you have to take out a little bit of a discount, those are still pretty good numbers. When you become proficient and you become a better appointment setter and converter, you see what the numbers can do. They go up exponentially. 148, man, that's a lot of 7-day weeks right there. All right, so to know the do and the have of listing conversions, you want to convert sellers on a relationship-based listing method. What you want to know is your confirming dialogue, your message 1, 2, and 3 dialogues, and your closing dialogue. And what you need to have is too much to list here. See page 39. It's just a checklist. Core beliefs, we talked about this a lot, and they keep popping up throughout the momentum lessons. Win-win or no deal. Something important. Know your walk-away price. What's your walk-away price on the listing commission? What's yours? What's the least you'll take? Depends on the price.
Yeah.
So it's like 250, you're like, yeah, I'll take 2.5, but it's $1 million, you take 1%.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's not bad, because if they're buying from wholesalers, you don't get anything from them usually, so that's good. So it just depends on the deal,
Yeah.
depends on the client. Anybody else, what's your walk away price on the listing commission?
Well, I'm hoping to do 3, but we'll see.
But what's the least you would take right now in this market? Let's say $300,000 listing,
Probably
1.5.
I always say that $4,500 is my,
Okay,
My
that's good,
market.
because I used to have the same thing, I used to never charge more than $8,000. So if I had an $800,000 listing, I would take $8,000, because I figured the work was pretty similar. I don't do that anymore, but that's the way, but that's good to have a dollar amount. Yeah, I won't do it for any less than $4,500 plus, period, I don't care what the price is. So you know your walkaway price. Money,
I would say 2%.
2%, that's
I mean, a
good.
discount,
So,
like, it's one of those things where if you're gonna get a discount, you're not gonna get, you know, all.
Full service.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and right now, what I've been doing is if people don't want to pay 5 or 6%, I'm like, okay, I'll do it for 4, but I'm keeping 2 and I'm offering 2. You don't want to pay a little higher than listings, but not less than 4% under any circumstances. It's not worth it. If you've ever been through an E&O claim or a truck complaint, trust me, it's not worth it if you didn't make it. My walk away was $5,000. That was my E&O deductible. So I was like, I can't take less than what it's going to cost me to defend myself if this goes south. So.
but I didn't even look at it like that, I should have, I should always look at it.
Is that what it is?
But 45 to me is just the burden, like the long-term care. Because when you have a listing, it doesn't end, I mean, those things never end.
No, you have 3 years left where you're exposed afterwards, 3 or 4 years for, statute of limitations, so you have to be really careful.
This is something,
Don't let
so
it do it.
with the listing,
Too much experience
I
doing
tell my sellers, I'm like, look, the times that I have given a discount, and my side is always percent, I was like, if I.
They always used to.
Change that.
Good for you.
Work I've been on that. And so far, I haven't lost one yet, and they're like, oh, I haven't thought of it that way. But I just can't, I'll take the discount before I make someone else, but that's when she's like, come on, Jenny, you gotta give me. But
In this market, you can do it, you can do it,
Yeah.
you really can. And I hate to say it, but, I think we've been spoiled here, like buyers agents, they tell every market to make 10%, because in most of them it's 2%. In a lot of areas, yeah.
that's very true.
Because
I
nowadays,
think Maine was
okay, back in the
too.
day when we used to control the information, it was different as buyers agents. Now, the information's out there, so it's, the buyer picks the house. You just go up and door and write a contract, so that's the way a lot of sellers and listing agents are looking at it. I'm not paying $21,000 for somebody to bring a buyer, the internet listing will bring it, So that's kind of how I explain it. So I'm just giving you guys some things to talk about, if you would, some more,
On this thing that happened, yesterday, this person that I got on phone duty when I was actually on my phone duty, is, a buyer. But the thing is that they're listing in Zillow only, and nothing in MLS. These homes don't exist there. And then when you call the number, and both times it was the same number on 2 different houses. And then it says your, as soon as it starts ringing, it says your call may be recorded. And then they don't answer, and then you get a call back from HotPad. I don't even know what that is. And I was like, who the hell's HotPad?
That's another website.
So those houses are not listed,
At all.
they're not listed, it's a lead generation tool.
Mhm.
So
Scam?
it's,
Is it like a scam?
it's not a scam, but it's like if you pay HotPads, if you pay Trulia, Zillow to get leads, they're giving you leads because buyers are inquiring about a specific property. Oh, I'm sorry, that property's not available. How can I help you?
So it's
That's what it is.
a scam where it's not really a
Yeah,
property.
it's kind of like.
Well, scam is a loose
Yeah.
term.
Well, and I'll say,
Let's see what we can get you into.
Come on in, we'll get you something similar, yeah.
anytime you call though on a Zillow property now, you'll get, it's because they're all screened by Zillow now.
Yeah.
So Zillow screens them for whoever's getting the lead to start with. So I don't know about the HotPad part of that.
Yeah, then when they called me back and they said they were HotPad.
Yeah, they're trying to steal
What were all
buyers.
this?
They're trying to steal buyers and they're just putting stuff out
Yeah.
there, and may or may not be
That's
good.
annoying.
Yeah, and I guess the agents aren't in MLS because the houses, they're not in there.
No, I would just tell my client, these don't exist, they're kind of.
I've been really telling them to just download realtor.com.
Yeah.
And
Or MLS.
that's as close as you're gonna get to my MLS, so just download.
Why not?
Or your
Why not?
Remax app.
Yeah,
It's a good time to use it.
yeah, because I have that.
Because Realtor.com, they're just gonna get another agent. So don't be, yeah, send them to another agent.
That's true.
And you can do that all the way where you, in your texting, you have a password, like mine is a mobile app, just paste it in and automatically the app comes up with a whole message for me, like, download this.
Yeah, I can show you.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
I have it downloaded. Okay.
On a text message?
I'm like,
All right, guys, I'm gonna keep rolling here. Thank you for your feedback on that. Okay, so 7 vital listing responsibilities. So again, we talk about this a lot, talk about activities management. Your only limit is your time. Since there's a limited amount of time, you must define the vital responsibilities so you can identify just the activities necessary for maximum output on your listing efforts. So kind of like going to the grocery store without a list when you're hungry. You know, you don't want to have an infinite number of things distracting you. You want to have a finite list. There's only 7 vital listing agent responsibilities out there. That's it. No more exist. So number 1, obviously the most important, lead generation. And number 2, what we're going to cover today is lead conversion. Number 3, administrative prep. 4, marketing and exposure. 5, presenting and negotiating. 6, closing prep. 7, post-closing activities. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and break these 7 down into 47 activities. So under lead generation, only one thing to do. How's it going, Shane? Find sellers, face-to-face, over the phone, mail, or email. I'm going to target visibles, expired and terminated listings, traditional and social networks, just sold notifications, and farming. These are just 5 examples of things you can do for lead generation. So 2 through 9 is what we're going to cover today in a lot of detail. The lead conversion, this is the most important part. It's great to generate leads, but if you can't convert them, it doesn't do you any good, right? So step 2, very critical. We're going to talk about asking pre-listing questions. It's important. Assembling pricing tools for CMA. Number 4, confirm your appointment. 5, prepare listing agreement. 6, get on the listing channel, which means get focused. 7, arrive on time, of course. Kind of shoot yourself in the foot if you don't. Number 8, have a listing conversation. Start by setting the tone, uncovering needs, prioritize needs, transition into your pricing tools, your CMA, review pricing information, agree on an appropriate price entry point, transition to roles and expectations, agree on roles and expectations, close in on listing agreement, explain listing agreement and notices, review staging plan, and number 9, you will close that appointment by signing the listing agreement, hopefully. Administrative prep is what you're going to do after you sign the listing agreement. Pictures, measurements, all that good stuff. Always mail a thank you card the next day after you walk someone's home. Thank you for letting me tour your beautiful home. Always get it heartfelt. It's always beautiful.
The money that's the Chihuahuas for a nice touch.
Yeah, enjoy the dog urine smell and cat urine smell. Marketing and exposure? No, I'm talking about this. What do you do if somebody, I already got fired for that, by the way. No, you hired me to tell you the truth, you're not supposed to like that. No one else, I'm serious, man. I almost
And they
choked.
hired you?
Yeah, the lady got offended. You know who it was? It was Walter Passacrida's wife. Walter Passacrida comes out on the sports talk radio. It's his
He used
wife.
to do a food truck out here.
She's like,
Yeah.
I can't believe you talk about my fur babies. She got offended.
My perfect.
I'm trying to sell your house. It was at a time when the market wasn't great. And you couldn't miss anything like that.
He used to be Valerie's next door neighbor or something.
That was before cancel culture even, Got canceled for something. All right, 31 through 35, presenting and negotiating offers. Hopefully within the first hour, putting it on MLS, get those offers. Closing preparation. 41, right? Might be a thing, might not. Depends which title company. Use capital title if you're not attending the closing.
which might be a good thing,
Plug in.
What's that?
which is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah, use capital titles, you don't go to closing.
Well, why is that?
Because of COVID, there's still like.
Yeah, well, I can.
Wow.
They let me in. Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, most of capital or?
I will, I
Really?
use them over there on 1604 by Wild Fish.
I don't know, I might have a different one, but the one I have is like, that's required for the duration. And my wife went to the building and they asked her why she was there, because she wasn't a party that was signing. So they stopped her at the door. I don't know if it was a different branch or whatever, but wherever the party was. And then, so part of this post-closing activities is,
No, Tommy's in Chicago.
what's that?
Tommy? Tommy,
Party Charles?
oh,
Or, yeah, I noticed a couple flies, sorry, it's kind of a common name. Post-closing activities, this is marketing, all right? You want to get that customer survey, especially if you did a great job, everybody 5-star review, you don't mail it anymore, just send a text for then they'll review you on Zillow, right? Change status and MLS, of course, water just sold cards, you want to get those sent out right away, brag your neighborhood, knock on 50 doors and brag some more, call 100 neighbors and brag, right? The great job you did, how quickly you sold it for, and how much money you made the Smiths or whoever sold their house. And then some mail the 300 just sold cards. I do that on every listing. That's just a no-brainer. Just sold cards. It works like a charm. Okay, listing department basics. Mission is to ensure that sellers who work with me make the most informed, intelligent listing decision possible. My vision is to attract serious sellers by taking an intentional and proactive approach to selling their home. The model I use is a relationship-based listing. We work as a team. So we approach, meeting, establish a win-win relationship, justify the appropriate price, exposure, 7-step marketing strategy, feedback. That sounds sophisticated, but 7 steps. Wow. Feedback, hold the client accountable. That's always good. Offers, inspections, closings. All right, so key indicators of success for your own personal use. Percentage of listings that sell. This is something you want to know. Hopefully it's 100%. Not always 100%, but hopefully it is. Your sales price to list price ratio. Does anybody know theirs offhand? I used to know mine. I used to market one. Mine was 98.6. Same as the human temperature. Average human healthy average
It's easy
human
to
temperature. 98.6%. The average in San Antonio was 97.5. So I got sellers more higher, closer to their asking price. Average days to close, or average days to an offer, right? Time on market, you want to make sure that's lower than average. Okay. Average seller satisfaction rating, hopefully it's 5 stars. If not, you don't want it, right? Everybody knows 5 stars. And then seller testimonials, you can throw those in. Oh, Jenny just did a great job on listing our home. She was so patient and thoughtful and caring. That's what people want. No, these validate a proven strategic approach with sellers. So these are all bragging points, right? If you can beat the average. Concept and idea, stop inviting home sellers to a listing presentation. Everybody does it. Everyone does it. Every other realtor out there, that's pretty much what they do. Instead, invite them to value-added, highly effective listing conversations. The concept and idea behind the listing conversation is simple. We need to meet and have a conversation to see if a win-win working relationship can be created. That's it. That's your conversation on the phone. That's how you get your foot in the door. Presentation versus conversation. It's not about blindly asking sellers to list with you so you can place another sign in the yard. It's about opening the door to potential working relationships and making sure those relationships are designed to succeed. Valuing a conversational approach will result in building the healthy and abundant listing inventory you desire. Get out of the competitive mindset by thinking you must list with every seller you meet. Instead, live in a world of listing abundance by only moving into relationships with motivated and reasonable sellers. So the scarcity mentality is, I must get the listing because there's a limited supply. Wrong. There's plenty enough business for everybody in the business right now. And trust me, with a little bit of knowledge and experience and training, you're going to outshine the vast majority of them, even the ones that are experienced. The abundant mentality is, I must choose a healthy relationship. I'm not gonna just jump in and be desperate and take anything that's thrown. Because it can lead to more problems down the road, trust me. We'll talk about that too. Getting the listing is only half the equation. The listing must also sell for the relationship to be deemed a success and for it to be profitable for you. Your goal is not to amass an inventory full of listings that don't sell, but rather to advance an inventory that's healthy and profitable. No profit to commission activity.
Zach, what do you consider that to look like for, let's say, an agent that buys themselves or be a small one? Obviously, that's gonna be a different size for a team versus.
It's all based on your goals. I mean, just based on your income goals. You mean what the healthy listing inventory looks like?
Yeah.
All comes from your goals, you know, whatever. So if you had a goal of selling 24 listings this year, your pace is 2 a month, and that's what you want. You want to take 2 good sellable listings a month. You get some extras on top of that, that's fine. But just remember, man, you know, that 80-20 rule, you know, 20% of your clients take up 80% of your time. That's why you want to be in healthy relationships. There's an opportunity cost associated with wasting time, every time. Time is money when you're self-employed. So if they're not making you money, they're wasting your money, pretty much, costing, right? Typical behavior is to present. And what do you do when you present? And we're going to talk about it a little bit more. When you're presenting, what are you doing?
Well, it's all one-sided,
You're just talking. You're just talking at it. Talking at it. It's not a conversation. You're making a lot of assumptions when you talk at people, right? You're assuming you know what they want. And most sellers, we know what they want, but don't assume, because sometimes it's not always the case. You're not always right. A much better and more professional approach is to facilitate effective conversations that allow for complete self-discovery by sellers. You are relationship-based, not unit-based. And thinking in this mindset will keep your referrals coming in the repeat business. And you'll see later in your career, shit, I don't have to advertise. I know guys that are good, they're great agents, but no one would ever use them twice. They just don't. So they constantly have to market and bring in new business because they're unit-based. They're not relationship-based. Right? So thus, your entire focus when converting leads should be on establishing win-win relationships with clients. Because if somebody's got to lose for you to win or vice versa, it's not going to work. It's not going to last. All right, so the 5 stages of converting a listing. This is it. Pre-conversational activities. So there's 6 things here you want to do before you even get to the house or meet with the seller. Ask the pre-listing questions. We're going to talk about that. Assemble your pricing tools, your CMAs, right? Remember the 3 of them you went through? Confirm the appointment ahead of time. Prepare the listing agreement. You don't have to in this case. You can DocuSign it to an agreement. It's kind of old school. We'll bring a paper copy. Get on the listing channel, which just means get focused. Eliminate all distractions. Turn off your phone and don't be walking around the house. Oh yeah, so that. Hold on, let me get back to this text. Leave your phone in the car if you have to. For some people, they have to respond when they feel it vibrate or they hear it. It's just like Pavlov's dog, man. They just react to it. Leave it in the car, turn it off, and arrive on time. Jeez, I mean that's the first test of your credibility and integrity, right? Professionalism. Okay, message number 1. There's 3 messages here. You want to set the tone, set boundaries for a win-win relationship. All right, you want to stay in control. This is designed to keep you in control. You're having a conversation, but you're staying in control. That's what's important. Message number 2, GPS, goals, plans, and strategy. Uncover their needs, prioritize their needs, and then introduce and review your market analysis, your CMA. Message 3, mutual expectations. Cover mutual expectations, gain agreements on roles. We'll talk about this, and it's super important. It's something that's changed my business and made my life a whole lot easier as my role, your role. And close to a win-win relationship. Post-conversational activities, handle objections, questions, and concerns. And if you have any at that point, if you did a good job, you won't have any questions or concerns at the end. Present and explain the listing agreement, and hopefully get them to sign. All right.
I did that to prioritize needs,
Uh-huh.
review the CMA. So I've got an offer on a house that I just listed 3 days ago that came in last night, and I was talking about this one just prior to here with the seller. And it's, the offer is 15,000 over, they're gonna pay survey and title, and they wanna close exactly on time when the tenants are occupying and I'm gonna be out. And so the the seller one was like, well, I'm almost hesitant to accept this first offer in 3 days. And I said, well, again, the objective is to find the right buyer at the right price for your home, closing the right time frame. I said, and you prioritize your needs being money and running. And we never exceeded both of those. I said, so why would there be a reason to not accept this? But so you're right. I think as soon as I did that, the tone of the conversation changed.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. You're right. Even right now, it's important. Because people get a little greedy, right? They're like, oh, I got 15 over, I can maybe get 25. Slow your roll, man. It's not crazy.
Right.
Right. So that's awesome.
It happens to the best of them too.
It does.
People to good people.
Yeah.
Because I had a similar situation where a house, we got 5,000 over this price, and we had already listed 10, 15,000 over market value. Well, we had the tide water, and we were already talking about possibly bringing the price down, because they had already had in their mind that we may have to do this at some point. Well, then guess what? It appraised at the sales price after the tide water. And then my clients got a little bit, they got a little bit funny after that, because there was a refrigerator that was still in question and another charging. I was like, don't do that. Like, we were already prepared to drop $5,000-$10,000 if we had to, and now you want to, do this. Like, they want to stick it to them a little bit more, And I just thought, I don't know, that's fun.
You gotta be
For good people, and they're good people, but they had that thing where, maybe we should have charged more for this.
Yeah, it was their one shot to get top dollar in this market.
And I'm like,
They don't want to give a bidding ground whatsoever. And it's common. And sometimes you just have to kind of like a fish, you don't want to bring in the boat that's going crazy. Let them wear itself out on the line, Let them go through all that. Seriously, let them go through their range of emotion.
Imagine,
Just
Yeah.
decide. Let them flip and flop, and then when they calm down, we're back to reality.
Yeah.
Because it can go crazy, man. And if people already spent that money in their head,
Yeah.
it's sealed, man. They're not doing anything else. They're not losing a dime. I think that's the fight before more than once. All right, so pre-conversation activities, small headaches swing big doors. Remember, this is very important. Pre-conversation activities represent small things that, when added up together, make big differences. The purpose of the pre-conversation activities are to, number one, differentiate yourself from the competition. That's going to help out a lot. You'll set the tone. Number two, add to your value proposition. Remember, cost is only an issue in the absence of value. So you want to start that from the first minute. And number three, you're going to increase your referral business. You're going to be seen as being more thorough in the competition. And different, you're going to stand out. So what were the 6 pre-conversation activities? Or pre-conversion activities? No conversation. Remember?
Oh, it's just do the CMA.
Yeah, that's right. Ask your listing questions, do your CMA, confirm appointment. This is a little pop quiz.
I have it in my phone here. Could tell it to you if you want.
Go for it. Not kidding. All right, so pre-conversation activities. That's where we're at. So here's a list and some examples of some questions you might want to add on your questionnaire. So ask the pre-listing questions. Before I come out, let me verify some things and ask you a few questions. Even though this seems routine and overkill, do it anyway, okay? Name, address, mailing address. Are you the sole owner? Number 4 is pretty important. Are you the sole owner of the home? I want to make sure you're talking to everybody who's making decisions. Contact information, work fax. I don't think you need number 6 anymore. Probably the email address would be more important. Home fax and work fax. Who has a fax machine? Who has a home phone? Anymore? I bet there's some people who do that. People have been in their house 40 years, yeah. This is a home phone. Anybody who's moved in the last 10 years is not allowed to have one today. I'm almost sure. I don't even know who I would call to get a home phone. Does AT&T still do it, or?
Right?
It's semi-bundle.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's all-
make you take
It has
I don't know
updates
how
sometimes,
to play
right?
around with those. The
Yeah,
fact that
yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
I had the fact that maybe one plugged it in. Yeah, I just wanted the
She's
fact
like,
that
I just
she
wanna know if it
works.
Scan an email, everybody should have a scanner and a printer, right?
I do.
Everybody should. All right, professionals always confirm, so you want to confirm the appointment. Confirm the appointment 3 to 4 hours prior to your scheduled meeting. If the meeting is before 11 a.m., don't call them at 6 or 7, right? Call them the evening prior. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is Zac Taylor with Free Next North. I get you a good time rate. The reason for my call is to make sure both you and Mrs. Seller will be there tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, or tonight at 6 o'clock. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to visiting with you both at 6 o'clock. So you repeat that to make sure they don't forget the meeting time, right? All right, if a husband or wife or partner is unable to attend the meeting, ask the following question. Will so-and-so, Mrs. Seller, be involved in making the decision? Of course you do. Yes. I would really like to schedule a time when both of you can be present. How about tomorrow night? With Phil, great house to see you. All right, it is important that all decision makers attend the meeting. Otherwise, your value proposition will get lost. And she said, shuffle. All right, so you want to get focused on the listening. Wherever you go, or wherever you are, be there, be present. So before you enter the home, make sure you are mentally focused. This may require listening to appropriate audio on your way to the appointment, a quick review of the listening beliefs while sitting in your car, and/or taking one deep breath before knocking on the front door. Everyone's different. Anybody have any kind of prep ritual before they show up to an appointment or they're stressed? Some people listen to Metallica in the car, some people listen to Tony Robbins, some people listen.
Podcasting.
What's that?
I like listening to podcasting.
Podcasting?
On the way over there.
Podcasts,
Kinda
talk radio, whatever the case may be.
Zone in.
Yeah.
True murder
zone
ones.
out.
I've just-
No, that's not me.
You start getting,
Those are fun.
paranoid. Yes, so don't watch like Forensic Files and Night Before, because you're gonna be paranoid. Sorry, you kill me, sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cold case files.
Cold case files, yeah, don't watch that. Right?
No kidding.
The truth is, it doesn't do any good to get at that and can't knock it out of the park. You're not gonna take a swing, right? So if you got this far, make sure you get on the listen channel. So my biggest thing is the phone. Clear your head of any and all outside distractions. So if you have a bad day, you have a big fight with your spouse that morning or whatever, just try to clear your head. You just have to clear it, right? And it always happens on the morning when you have something to do, because you're more tense too. So if your spouse might say something and normally you blow off, you're like, how did you say that? You know, you're like, sensitive, right?
Yeah.
So, because you're tense. So it happens. Focus on the conversation at hand. Always focus on the conversation at hand. Try to stick to the script. Try to stick to the conversation there. Don't get off into too much small talk. You get off into a little bit, but you're always going to have to redirect. And imagine the desired end result. In your mind, shaking hands, walking out there, you're expecting your DocuSign for listening agreement. You got it. All right, be professionally attractive, arrive on time. Once at the home, follow these simple rules of courtesy. Number one, park on the street, not in the driveway. If you have magnets on your car, remove them. If you have a wrap vehicle, there's not much you can do. Maybe park down the street. Why would you do that? What's important about number one?
In case they don't want their neighbors to know.
Maybe I didn't tell anybody they're moving or meeting with the realtor, right? Maybe you have a realtor that lives next door. She's gonna come over and harass them if she sees they're meeting with another realtor. That's what my wife would do, man. One time she saw somebody at her neighbor's house, she's like, you guys moving? Why don't you call us out? No, we're just in the PTA together. So she didn't listen.
Nice. At least she got your back.
She might have.
She doesn't play around with dudes like that. She looks serious, man. She's like, she will cancel somebody.
Very rarely like that.
Yeah, you're kind of offended. I'm like,
Number two, introduce yourself and offer to remove your shoes. So hopefully you don't have holes in your socks or anything like that. But just know that some people like it, or certain cultures are big on that, and then some people just don't like shoes in their house. Number three, move towards the kitchen or dining room. Because of the information that I'd like to review and discuss with you, I prefer that we sit at the table. Now, you don't want to have this at the door or outside, or, you want to be comfortable. You want to be able to stay in control. Number four, ask for a tour of the home. Before we get started, why don't you pretend I'm a buyer and show me around your home, pointing out what you feel are the selling features and amenities of the home. You're gonna get some doozies on this one. Yeah, that's tile. I think this tile, because we got it from Italy, and nobody else sells it here, so, we think it was about 40,000 more. I don't know what you think for that tile, but you're gonna get that kind of stuff, you're gonna get all kinds of reasons why your house is better than anyone else's. Number 5, build a rapport and take notes. Okay, as you tour the home, mix in talk of 4. Remember the 4, the safe topics that we're going to talk about with clients: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Those are safe. Don't talk about religion or politics or what was on the news last night. Also, take notes in regards to the home's features, amenities, and condition, as this is where you will predetermine which value range of the home most identifies with. Remember we talked about the 3 ranges? This is also a perfect opportunity to warm up, set a conversational tone, and exhibit your charm or likability. If you have, hopefully you have some, you're not just a robot, so to speak. Afterwards, both parties should feel very comfortable communicating with one another. This is not a staging tour. Number 6, return to the kitchen and ask to be seated. Which chair would you like me to sit? Always ask, don't just assume because they sat down and you should sit. It's always polite. All right, so why should you ask pre-listing appointment or pre-listing questions? Why should you confirm more appointments? Remember? Professional, it sets you apart from the competition, right? It's just an extra courtesy that you're providing, and it should be part of your repertoire. Why should you get on the listing channel, and why should you arrive on time? Again, I've seen people like seriously at appointments like on their cell phones. You don't want to do that. Like when I'm training people on team members, sometimes team members. Pay attention, look in the eye. Why should you arrive on time? That's 90% of it right there. If you show up late, you're going to criticize every wrong move you make. Trust me. Doesn't matter what your excuses are. House is on fire, doesn't matter. You're supposed to be your attendant. Why should you offer to remove your shoes? Cultural sensitivity. That's it. Or preference for German clothes, or people who are just clean foods, right? And it shows care. You're going to take care of your house.
Well, it shows respect too.
Respect.
You know, like this is your space, I respect you for being in your space, I'm bringing strangers into your space. So if I can't respect that, then you're gonna be wondering how can I get strangers?
Exactly. Yeah.
Very
Good. Yeah. Why should you move towards the kitchen? Why would you ask for a tour of the home? So you want to know what's important to them about the house, and you want to see what the home's condition and upgrades are. And the best person to tell you about that is the person selling it, right? And then sitting in the kitchen and dining room is just going to be to get comfortable with what paper, really. And what should your agenda be on the home tour? Pretty simple. We just said gathering info.
Would it be, would it be appropriate to take photos and videos while you're going through that first tour? Is that a little more distracting?
I mean, yeah, I would do it. I mean, it depends on the property. Like I wouldn't walk the 150 acre ranch the other day, and I took pictures because I'm not going to walk it again if I'm ready for this, you know. So I'm like, I'm going to get every picture I can from every little corner while I'm getting this store, you know, because that's not going to be a
Where is it?
Brackettville, outside of Brackettville. Between Brackettville and about 150 acres.
Nice.
How much are you listing for?
$990. We're going low over 6,000 acres.
6,000?
And it comes with mineral and water rights, and a bunch of hunting blinds, a bunch of deer blinds, a bunch of feeders. Like they have a cattle feeder out there, an industrial one, it holds like 400 pounds of corn.
Oh,
And it's something they brought from Mexico that feeds cattle. Like, holy shit, what is that, a UFO? Damn, and you feed the whole county with this thing.
Nice.
Every deer in Kenny County on that property.
In Kenny County?
Yeah, Kenny County.
How many acres?
150. Yeah, it's isolated, though. Yeah, it's out there. Okay, so still in the conversation, become a listing strategist who helps sellers make informed, intelligent decisions. You're not presenting, you're talking. So once seated, you're ready to enter the conversation zone. There are basically 3 messages to deliver and help the seller take ownership of during an effective listening conversation. Number 1, not our realtors behave alike. We want to be different. Number 2, we must find and agree on the most appropriate price entry point. And number 3, we each have roles with specific expectations. You telling sellers you are different and you can add more value isn't enough. You must allow them to self-discover what a working relationship with you will be like. Again, guys, this is designed to be the complicated process, but it wears them down, it establishes your value, right? At the end of the day, you're not going to get a whole lot of arguments. If you try to whip through it in 5 minutes, you're not going to see the value. This is where they see value, the time spent. So the conversational approach is to be used as follows. Engage, deliver the message, and gain agreement. That's it. All right, so no, scripted dialogue is a must. However, a lot of realtors mistakenly replace their personalities with the script, resulting in disaster. You must combine your own natural abilities to charm and persuade the following dialogue so that the words and system become yours. Remember, be likable and not arrogant. Also, stay curious and never imply that you know what's best for yourself. As a consultant, you are only the option giver, not the decision maker. So that's it. Now, again, the script thing, yeah, you don't want to sound like a robot, but it's nice to internalize. We don't say memorize these, we say internalize it. Make them your own. Be able to spit it out, practice this on a regular basis, right? All right, so I'm going to ask you some help reading this stuff. So setting the tone at the first meeting, this is some of those scripts you're going to practice. Setting the tone of it being a win-win. That's the first message you want to deliver. Someone read that, please?
First, let me say that I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me. I want you to understand from the very beginning that my goal is not to come in and give you a presentation about what it is I think you want to hear, but rather to have a conversation to see if a win-win working relationship can be created. A lot of real estate agents are willing to sacrifice a win-win relationship in order to simply take a listing. And I want you to know right up front that I don't operate that way. With me, it's win-win or no win.
So this is kind of refreshing and warm, if you ask me, especially in such a big deal with the fast-paced world we live in and things. Everybody's trying to automate processes, right? Human beings still don't always want that. All right, believe it or not, a lot of people who think time is money, that the faster I get through this, the easier I make it, the better it's going to be. Now, people still want to know that you care, you're going to be thorough, and you're going to take the time to go through it. So the second part is giving them the agenda. You always want to tell people what you're going to tell them before you tell them, right? So this kind of keeps you in control too. Someone read that, please?
Now, in order to create a win-win relationship, I must first uncover your needs and goals in this transaction. Therefore, I'm going to ask you some very specific questions and take notes. Is that going to be okay? Great. So once we've defined your specific needs and goals in this transaction, we'll discuss and agree on the most appropriate price. After that, we will thoroughly review the goals and expectations necessary for a successful working partnership. Is this agreeable to you?
Thank you. So think about what you're saying here. Has anything come up about your experience, what you're going to charge, what you're going to do to market it, any of that crap? No, this is designed to keep you away from that. You already got the 800-pound gorilla when you're walking with the Remax balloon or logo on your shirt or on your name tag and you hand them that business card. So they already assume you're confident. So now what we're doing is we're steering away from the BS that might come up in the conversation. And we're focusing on one thing, keeping you in control. And only certain things are going to come up, trust me. Confidentiality. Someone read that?
Great. I want to rest assured that, Right. I want you to rest assured that anything said here tonight will remain totally confidential. So please feel free to be as open and honest with me as you feel you can be. Is that fair?
Awesome. Yeah, that's, you always want to offer confidentiality because you don't know who you're dealing with, you don't know what they're going to tell you, you don't know how sensitive they are with their personal information. Some people are just an open book, they'll tell you everything. Yeah, well, that's too late. Whatever, they'll tell you their life story in 5 minutes. Other people are real quiet about their personal info, and they want to know that, especially with somebody you know personally, like you go to church with them, you're not going to go grab it to somebody else. Right? You know what I'm talking about, Shane?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's important, man. That's seriously important. Transitional phrasing question, great. With that said, let's talk about your vision of a successful transaction. You haven't touched anything that a normal realtor would talk about at this point. Nothing. You're totally different. It's all about them and what they want and what's success to them. That's all. So before assembling appropriate plans and strategies, you must define the goal. So first we define the goal. Thus, stage 3 begins with uncovering the seller's needs. When uncovering needs, you must stay totally neutral. This is not the time to address or debate each specific issue. Just listen and take notes. All right, so needs uncovering dialogue. I'll read this one. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being very desirable and 1 being not desirable at all, what one thing has to happen to make sure the sale of your home is a 10 for you? In other words, what has to happen for you to consider the sale of your home a success? Okay, what's important about that? Why? Is there anything else important about that? So you're going to get all kinds of different answers here. Well, just selling it would be a success. Selling it for asking price would be a success. You're going to get all kinds, right? Some people is going to be getting a 30-day lease back is what's important to us. You never know, right? You never know. What one thing could we add to make the sale a 10 plus for you? Oh, getting more than asking price. Okay, write this stuff down. It's going to help you later. If we could add just one more thing, make it a 10 plus, what would it be? This is just going to give you a lot of insight into what they want and what their motivation is. When repeating answers back to the sellers, always use their exact words. This shows you're listening. Like for some reason in sales training, they always tell you to repeat the person's name, and that shows that you're listening. That's just kind of annoying, when you overdo it. So Zach, let me tell you about this, Zach. So Zach, what we have here is we have this product. Let me tell you, Zach, this is the best.
It's like, yeah, we get you know our name.
I get it. Just freaking explain. Okay, so here's an example of something you might run into in the field. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being very desirable and 1 being not desirable at all, what one thing could happen to make the sale of your home a 10? Good price. Okay, that's kind of vague. You want to get specifics here. Good price. What? Need $20,000 down to get our next home. Should give me more than that. No, I'm kidding. Or like $50,000. We want to feel like we made a good investment. Okay, so you want to ask questions, obviously, follow-up questions. What one thing could be added to make it a 10 plus? Be out of the home in 60 days, a quick sale. But you have to ask, they just say good price, quick sale. What's a good price? What's a quick sale? 3 days or 3 months? Everything's subjective, right? Building a home where we don't want 2 payments. Okay, nobody wants 2 mortgage payments, right? Obviously.
Right.
Everybody know about RESPA and how it works when a buyer takes out a mortgage on a home, their first payment. So the lender can't charge them a payment the month they close or the following month. So that's something to always keep in your back pocket. So if we buy right, you can go 60 days without a payment. If you close June 1st, the first payment's due in August. So it's always something to kind of know, to keep in your back pocket, right?
Oh, I thought it had to be after the 15th.
No.
So
You're gonna pay a lot of interest, but like you have extra closing costs, because all that closing for that month gets rolled in.
right.
But no, it's that calendar month period.
So he closed in June. Your first payment does not have to be due until August, regardless of it being prior to or on or before or on or after the 15th.
Yeah, and they can charge you a late fee until August 16th. So you really have 2.5 months to make your first payment if you close on the first of the month.
That's it.
With any standard mortgage.
Okay. Standard meaning FHA or.
Yeah, so basically anything government regulated, anything that falls under Fannie Mae, or anything regulated by RESPA, which is supposed to be all mortgages, even like hard money loan and crap. But it doesn't always work that way. But the ones that follow the correct origination laws, it's supposed to do that. But interest only, they have some kind of weird rules and certain ways of getting around it. But the loans that your clients are going to use,
That's really
typically, but they're all occupants especially. All right, so market and promote our home in a professional manner. Okay, what's a professional manner? Is that an open house every weekend? This is why you have to ask these questions. Prior agent, if they had a prior agent that's expired, did not promote the home. Why? What's that mean? What do you mean they didn't promote the home? And you do an open house and put it in a magazine, then advertise in the magazines or hold open houses. Right now, women in magazines kind of, I don't even know if there's real estate magazines out there. There's nothing published. nothing stays on the market long enough for it to get to print.
One of my investors though, he's like, I got this magazine when I was supposed to it. It's like out of the grocery store. And it was something I had never even heard of. But it was important to him, and he's like, oh, my next one, I want it in there. And I'm like, that's so I'm thinking, like you said, it's gonna, you know, not even be effective. But if that's what's important,
That's
he
what they
wants to
want.
spend the, you know, $50 to get in there and
There you
then
go.
I
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I made the grocery store magazine.
They're gonna keep it forever.
It's like every military person I get, they want to know AHRN, and I'm like, why? I'm like, anybody who's looking for a house, can go to Zillow or Realtor.com. They're not going to AHRN looking for off-market property. Maybe now we learn, this thing's crazy, but pretty much it's gonna go through normal real estate channels. But some people want that on my street events, $35 a month.
You know, so I've had some clients tell me, hey, I want you to do X, market your home. And I told them, I'm sorry, but I don't do that. You know, if you want to pay money for that, I'm happy to coordinate that, but that's not what I do as part of my marketing. I don't see the importance. And usually, well, every one of them so far anyway has balked at it. Once I said, you can do it, and I'm happy to coordinate it if you want to pay it. But that's not my marketing.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because if you think about it, guys, when you're doing this presentation, not your presentation, when you're showing the credentials, average list price ratio, average, above average or below average on the days on the market, you can show them like, ah, this is my marketing package, these are my numbers. So I'm better than average already, they won't even come up in my cases. Because you've already shown what you can do, and you've already shown that you're better than competition. And you explain the kind of presented your marketing package. So a lot of times that goes out the window, hopefully. You know, they're not gonna still sit there and go, well, I know you're better than everybody else, you know what you're doing, this and that, but we still want to do newspaper. Because we bought our house, we found it in the San Antonio Express News Sunday paper. What was that, 25 years ago? Nobody goes to the paper to buy a house.
Well, what's been so critical for me
Or
too
buy
is,
it.
yeah, and what's been so critical for me, or what I'm scared of, is because it's almost kind of a give an inch, take a mile scenario. I don't want them driving how I run my business.
Yeah. Because that could be a disaster if you let everybody do it, you're absolutely right, you know, in 50 different directions. But all this stuff, the presentation, the violent role, your role stuff, it all comes in, usually by the time you get to the end, they have no objection. If you do this right, they won't have 10 even questioning. I bet you. If you go through this, you'll get a lot. I'm not saying it'll eliminate it totally, but you'll get a lot less. All right, so the importance of uncovering needs. So this might seem like an arbitrary, you know, something you don't need to do, something you can skip over. But again, it's all about them. You must gain a thorough understanding of their needs. Uncovering needs is vital to your validity as a real estate consultant. At some point during the process, the seller may say, is this all really necessary? You may ask yourself, oh my God, you might be thinking that right now. Zach, is this really necessary? I want the quick version. This is not the quick version. But if you want 6%, you don't want to do the quick version. Hate to say it, but it's true. Your response should be necessary. I believe it's vital. As I explained earlier, I'm here in an attempt to create a win-win working relationship. Thus, it is very important for me to completely understand your win in this transaction. Without knowing your needs, I can't ensure your win. Besides, if I don't know your specific needs in this transaction, then we won't be able to identify the most appropriate price entry point. I promise this won't take long and it will be completely pain-free, so come on. What will make the sale 10 for you? When uncovering needs, you must know when to ask for further definition and clarification. Anytime other than when describing price, the seller uses words such as good, regular, competent, knowledgeable, quick, low, high, etc., you should ask for further definition by following up with the question, what's your definition of quick? What's your definition of low? What's your definition of high? And so on and so forth. Example, seller says we want a quick sale. What's your definition of quick? 2 months. And by sale, do you mean you want to be completely done and closed, or you just want to have it accepted off? Prioritizing dialogue. Of these 3 needs, which is most important to you? What's the second most important on the sheet? Leaving blank is the third. Transitional phrase. So what you told me is that being completely out of your home in 60 days is your #1 priority. And for some people it is. They already assume they're gonna get market value for their home. So don't just assume that that's a top priority. They may have moved on and had different thoughts. And the only way to find out is if you ask. And if you don't ask, they might pass on you. Always address the number one priority first. This is gonna help you later. It's all about justification. Typically, price or timing issues is the number one priority. Some people want ease, some people want nobody touring their home, nobody walking through, or whatever. So you can address those too. So transitional dialogue. So from what you told me, is that being out of your home in 60 days is the number one priority. Let me assure you that my goal is indeed to get you out in 60 days. And really, getting you out in 60 days revolves around two basic components: price and exposure. Since exposure does us little good if the home is incorrectly priced, we should first focus on developing a pricing strategy that will lead us to the most appropriate price entry point. Even in today's market, I had to stop with a seller last week before I put his house on the market. I thought he was going to go crazy. He got this nice listing in Alamo Ranch. I was like, he's going to go nuts, like over 400K. They comped out at about 385 or so. So anyway, so I showed him some actives. I did just what, I said, look, there's no expires, but there's 6 homes in this area that have not sold, that have been on the market more than a week. So you can't just name your price and expect to get an offer within a few hours. There's some houses that are not selling, and that kept them grounded. So we listed at 395, only 10,000 more than last time. But my goal is to keep it under 400. We were over 400, man. But yeah, there's too many nicer houses out there at the same price. So you still can't go crazy. All right, so some transitional questions. Let me just ask, do you think a pricing strategy is important? Share with me why you feel that way. If their answer is correct or close to exactly. If you disagree with their answer, may I consult you a little on pricing? And so on and so forth. Justification statement. We must remember that the pricing game is all about justification. Even in 2021, even in this market, we still have to justify. Therefore, we must put ourselves in a position to defend our list price to the comps, to the buyer, to the appraiser. You know that's coming. You know that appraiser's coming. The moment we're unable to defend our list price, we lose leverage. And when we lose leverage, we start leaving your money on the table. Now, me leaving your money on the table is simply unacceptable. Do you agree? Great. Let me show you the research I've already done. This is when you jump on the CMA. So, all right. So what's your? I think that the slide was okay. So transition your CMA. So if it's a FSBO or an expired, how did you arrive at your last list price? How many showings did you have? What was the feedback? Why did you feel the home in this? It's always a realtor's fault. If your home was exposed to thousands of other realtors via the MLS, was the information on the MLS correct? Number 5, let me just ask you, do you think a pricing strategy is important? Why? So if everything was correct, homes already exposed properly, pictures were good, then it was a price. It's always price. Okay. So again, if you're dealing with the physical or expired, what we must remember is that the pricing game is all about justification. Thus, we must put ourselves in a position to defend our list price. Yeah, it's just so basically, checking, throwing in, hey, we don't want to end up like last time. It's a little bit easier on expires. All right, so you want to introduce the CMA summary pages. Don't overwhelm the seller with a 40-page CMA that shows multiple pictures of homes sold. Instead, present 3 basic CMA summary pages. Basically the CMA summary. They customize comparable homes that have sold, comparable homes that are active, and comparable homes that have expired. So the same thing we reviewed in the pricing. Okay.
So this is something that, like, I just presented typically now the CMA summary page more than anything else, and I can speak to it, but I'll take notes about the comps on there. I've seen some people will do like those reports or the one that you had mentioned where you only pay for that month and you utilize it, et cetera.
Toolkit CMA.
Yeah, the toolkit CMA thing. My big, I guess, apprehension or fear is that by using something like Toolkit CMA or that full-out CMA that you can do with the MLS, you know, you've got homes with, like, let's say, covered decks, pools, things like that. You don't have access to what the appraisers did on their appraisal and how they adjusted their homes. So all you can do is kind of guess, like, okay, it looked like this house was about 5K more because of the pool or this, that, or the other. What I get concerned with is I don't want to get too stuck down the rabbit trails and stuff like that with the customer and then have the presentation be 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that? How do you approach that? How do you know that? How do you build it?
So kind of the same way in the pricing boot camp, man, I just pull out, so you can either take notes on the listing, just use the CMA summary, or print the actual agent reports, and then I go through and I highlight. We see this house sold for 145 a square foot because in-ground pool with the joining spot, you know, it's showing that. Or this house has been completely remodeled and it has this, or it has that, you know, and I'll go through like that. So your high sales, like when you look at your price per square foot and you rank it, your high sales are usually always going to have something added on. You're going to be recently rehabbed, or you're going to have a pool or something that sets in the park for it. So you take note of that. And you just kind of try to find the ones that their house is most similar to. That's what I do. So I don't even bother with the low ones. It's almost pointless, because almost everybody's going to be in a position whether they're in the middle or on the high end. Especially right now, you know, you kind of pick the higher comps. But there's still a line between houses like, say you're in a neighborhood like the Summit or Colonies North, where you have houses built in the 50s and 60s, no matter what, you're going to have about half of them have been rehabbed and about half of them have, you know, they're like the original owners and they still have green, you know, tile in the bathroom, you know, lime, you know, crap like that, right? So those are always going to be in the middle, but you're always going to have some that are higher, but the seller always wants the higher price. Why do my neighbor sold this house for 240? And I'm like, you know, this house and that house and this thing, and you know, they're not, you know, you just have to show them the difference, that's all. So you get your CMA summaries, and you start the conversation there, and then if you have to go and justify, you can take notes. What I would try to do is just take notes and say, this one had a pool, this one had a covered patio, this one didn't newly rehab. So all these are kind of in average condition, much like your homes. You know, it's in good condition, it's moving ready, but it's not as high, it's not going to sell for these homes. And it's not going to appraise for these homes. And if you got to go into it and you look at the agent reports and go through one by one, and it should still keep you within a, you know, reasonable time frame.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. That's why mastermind groups are good, because when you guys actually go out and do this stuff and come back with the real world experience, we can share it, we can talk about, you know, specific examples and how we'll run these kind of things. And then sooner or later, it's going to get easy for you. It'll be like round start that. All right, so pricing dialogue. Someone want to read this? Kind of review the pricing.
Yeah, you see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are 3 basic sheets in real estate. The sold sheet, the dream sheet, and the expired sheet. The sold sheet represents what we can expect to get in this area at this time. 100% of the people on this sheet have already achieved what you're trying to achieve. They've sold their home. The dream sheet is our competition and tells us what people are hoping to get in this area at this time. What most people do not realize is that about 50% of the dreamers actually make it to the sold sheet the first time around.
Okay, so that probably wouldn't be the case in this market right now. Obviously, we have more than a 50% market absorption rate. But this is another number you can pull to talk about, hey, you know, in this area, we only have about an 80% market absorption rate. So there's still 1 out of 5 sellers are not selling their homes. They're just not selling the first go round. So you want to be in the top 80% or the bottom 20%. In this case, you want to be in the top 80%. Right? Okay, you want to continue?
The other 50% go to the dreaded expired sheet. This is the sheet of projected profits. It tells us what people are not willing to pay this money.
And it's happening now still. There's some overpriced homes out there that are going to expire. Sorry, go ahead.
Do we want to position ourselves in a way where we're expecting to sell the home or hoping to sell?
So the answer is expecting, of course.
Then based on the needs we covered tonight, what sheet do you believe we should primarily study to determine our price?
Sold sheet.
Exactly. Let's look at the most important research. What has actually sold in there?
Yeah, so again, you're asking questions to lead you down the path of giving you the answers you want. You're in control. you're staying in control. You don't need a lot of experience to do this. So far as experience come up at all, how many houses you sold, how many run your business? Not at all, because you sound professional, you're different, you're thorough. Doesn't matter, you're not gonna care. You're gonna see like you've been in business 20 years. Exactly, let's look at most research, see what actually sold in your area. Okay, so agreement dialogue. So looking at the sold information available, can you understand how a reasonable buyer would price your home somewhere between this range and this range? We talked about it now, right? They already took ownership. If no, share with them how you feel that way. You're not gonna get it, though. They already agreed. So you're gonna get a yes, so based on your needs, where do you feel we should price the home? Hopefully you'll get a reasonable price. You will, because you already led them. You're reading off the same sheet of music. I agree. Now let's make sure that the price will indeed satisfy your needs. Okay, so once you have agreed on a justifiable list price, you must verify the price will satisfy the seller's pricing and time frame requirements. This will require calculating a basic niche. Everybody know how to do that? In MLS, you can do it. You can get, I think every other title company has an app to send you to do this stuff. Pretty simple, right? All right, eliminating sellers for more. So we kind of touched on this a little bit. You know, people even now, even 15,000 over asking, still have sellers for more time, like it's sold too quickly. All right, before moving to mutual expectations, you must ask one more question. How would you feel the household's market? A lot of people would probably feel like they price it too low. In this market, probably not the same, but in normal markets, yeah, most houses don't sell in a day. And that's why you feel that way, is that your goal to get your needs met within the desired time frame. When you agree that pricing your home at the appropriate price entry point increases the odds of getting one or more offers within your designated time frame. Would you feel your needs were able to satisfy if the offer came on the first day as opposed to the 16th day? No, same thing, right? So another thing you can do too that a lot of agents are doing in this market, and it's just going to be a temporary thing, it's something you can do, is what a lot of agents are doing is just put it out there, don't allow any showings for a few days, and just say, okay, I'm putting it out on Monday, no showings until Thursday, and we are presenting all the offers on Sunday at 2 o'clock. That's it, just leave it at that. Let people kick, scream, scramble, get that offer in. You do it one time, and you'll know, you set that appointment with the seller at 2 o'clock. Hey, look, we had good exposure. We had 3 days for people to preview it, and we had 3 days for people to come out and actually see it. That's long enough in this market. It's not day one, it's almost a week. So you can extend that out a little bit and make sure you get the highest and best without going back and asking for the highest and best. Does that make sense?
People are kind of expecting you to put something out there though. I mean, you have multiple offers. So I guess you just, like you said, you just put that out there up front.
Yeah, just put it out there up front.
So you don't have to put that out.
Yeah, we will present whatever we have on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So it gives people time like to shop on the internet and want it, you know, like 3 days or so, and then no showings, and then you let them show it for a few weeks.
I think too, the key is don't shortcut your marketing. I did a matter board with Beto, and one of the potential offers that may be coming in today as well for this from listed is from the husband who lives abroad. No, the husband lives here, wife lives abroad, and then she virtually toured the home and then he physically toured it. So that right there would prompt another potential offer to make this a multiple offer competitive situation.
Heck yeah, no, it's true, like the Matterport 3D rendering goes along with, I thought it was great during COVID. I think it's great during this market where people can actually preview it. And not just preview it, but get like a good idea of, you know, they can walk the damn house, basically, you know, in 3D rendering. So, yeah, totally worth it. And you're right, don't shortcut your marketing. Don't get lazy just because it's a good market. I see people doing it. I see the crappy pictures people are putting up, and I'm like, don't, just because it's a great marketing, you can't be lazy and sloppy, you know. Still do your job, and yeah. And I see sellers too taking shortcuts, not even championing the carpets, man. I'm like, people still want to clean house. I know the market's crazy, and people are willing to accept it with some opinions, but come on, man. I mean, try to help yourself a little bit, you know.
This kind of what you're doing, but I don't know, maybe you got some feedback. I have a listing I'm about to take. It's on an investment property, and the seller is out of town. And the last 10 things that I've seen syringes in the backyard. And so,
Like food.
yeah,
Oh my
to get them cleaned up, it's like $52,000. Like,
You know, I passed on a flip house because I found a needle in the back in this house. Was a disaster. You could tell there was drug abuse going on. And I found a little packet, like a little baggie with some brown powder. There wasn't much, it was just residue on the top of the toilet. And a hypodermic needle on the floor.
Oh,
And I
no.
was like, I gotta pass because, yeah, you're right, to get a bio, what do you call it? The bio-environmental people, you guys do that shit. It's expensive, and the disposal of it is way expensive,
Wow.
so.
Not to mention you run the risk of them coming back too and just being a pain.
Some people, yeah, they just show up there, like, I guess we had one time, there was a former drug dealer that lived there. Seriously, these people sold dope out of that house. So we rented it to another person, they said they had people come by all times, day or night, shady, looking
Yeah.
for somebody, looking for something,
Yeah.
looking for drugs.
Yeah.
So you gotta,
And they do that.
yeah,
Yes, they
It's,
do.
they don't get it.
they were reality, yeah, and you're right, and in their minds,
Mhm.
right?
when I
So,
was doing my GRI classes, I think Candy Cook was the instructor in that one, and she said that if it's on that house, you have to disclose it.
well, you have to now officially,
Oh,
by
wow.
Texas, some sellers disclosure. If it
Yeah,
was
only
used-
meth.
Oh,
Really?
Right.
That was for manufacturing.
Well, it's
On
the
the
chemicals,
first
sure.
That's what Candy Cook told me.
No, it's on there, the previous use of premises to manufacture of methamphetamine.
Wow.
And that's the only drug they care about, because it has like long.
Well, it gets into
Chemicals
the
and
sheetrock.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's poison, there's poison in those chemicals. Yeah.
What? And it goes into the sheet.
Yeah, because they use things like paint thinner and lighter fluids and that. And so,
I know, right?
when they do, if they're cooking it,
Dude, mothers.
like the traditional way where they use it like a heat source, like a stove or using stove, or the fumes from that
I've done it more than
get into
once.
the sheetrock.
You did, I'm
And
sorry,
then
go right
they'll
ahead.
permeate around, so in order to fix the house, you have to
Well, you
let the
have
sheetrock out and
you're
replace it.
Oh my gosh, I would have never known.
I know, I
That's
didn't either.
crazy.
I mean, if you have a child, you know, let's say a toddler, come into the house and be in contact with those walls, or going to identify your child.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
It's been on there for years.
Yeah.
That sure has been on the subject for years.
Yeah, that one's been around for a while.
At least 10.
Yeah, it's been on there for quite a bit. Anybody ever watch Breaking Bad when Jesse buys his parents' house or his aunt's
Yeah.
house?
Oh.
And the lawyer goes in and Bob Odenkirk, what's this guy? His real name's Jimmy Sullivan, yeah, right? Sullivan.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Breaking Bad. So he walks in there and they want like $800,000 for the house, where he's got $400,000 in cash. And they're like, screw you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I don't see anywhere where there's a disclosure that this was a meth house, if they had a meth house. And he gets it for him for half price.
Oh.
You guys never saw that Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
And
wow.
Jesse gets to buy that house with his parents, and they don't know it's him, they don't know he has that kind of money. I thought he was a bum, he's got like.
That's awesome.
When I was house shopping, we arrived to a house and we could tell the door was cracked open a little. Well, Fiona was showing me the house and she got there and she's like, the door is cracked open. I'm calling the agent. And I was wanting to wait till you and Brandon got here. I didn't want to go in. So we went in and some kids had broken in and had a big party and there was still like weed on the table.
Oh
and
my
hands
gosh.
everywhere.
That's so common, vacant houses.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially in the summertime,
Yes.
when they're not even, they were there and party.
Yeah.
Just go in there.
That was
We,
fun.
we walked,
Things like that too, when I was growing up.
I walked into,
But, I mean, it sounds really bad, but that's what kids do. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we used to do.
Especially if there's a pool.
Bobby's like, that was me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I mean, smoke weed, drink beer.
I know.
But I was swimming in somebody's pool, vacant
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Kids
I
do
actually
that.
walked
Even good
into,
kids do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
what is it called? A vacant house where we were showing, and the kids were still in there.
Oh,
With
no.
my fire, like, it was so crazy, it was such a mess.
And we opened the front door and we heard us going out the back.
Well, they didn't even hear us coming, and we were in the house for like the entire time, and we didn't realize there was people
Oh,
in the
my gosh.
home, in the background. They were very,
Thinking you're crazy.
that was so crazy.
But okay, here's the problem with this though, with that specific thing on meth. Most people don't even know that they have meth in their house, because those houses usually get foreclosed on, and the banks don't give you site disclosure,
Right.
right? So then you have it, you buy it from a bank as a foreclosure. You don't know what it happened before. You're just passing it on to the next person.
Well, that, you're
Nobody
not
tests-
liable for
nobody
that.
tests for methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's certainly plenty of houses that have methamphetamine
Mine probably.
here that people
I'm
don't
just
know about. And really aren't gonna be knowledgeable.
Mine was owned by a border control agent.
It's only
Okay.
based on what you know about.
He probably brought it back.
You're not an inspector, you're not a tester, you're just a realtor, buyer, seller.
You know, something that was touched on earlier that I'd like to just add, if it's okay.
Yeah.
I
Is
just found the
it talks
border
about
control.
letting the seller know
Previous.
everything you share with me, I will keep in confidence. And to the credit of that is, I even consider that with conversations with your family members. I've helped two of my cousins purchase, sell, etc. And in both of those instances, they both had the same parent, it was my same uncle. But he and my mother speak daily, and he didn't find out that they were selling and buying or buying in the other one's case until they told him, until my cousin had told him. And once he found out, he'd asked my mother, man, why didn't you tell me? If Shane's opened them, I figured you'd have known. And she had responded to him in both of those instances. No, he doesn't share anything with me. He takes his business very seriously. And so as a result, that has led to other referrals for me. And I think strictly because of the fact that there's a level of professionalism that breaks that barrier or that tie of this is a family member who's a realtor. Instead, now this is a professional realtor that happens to be a family member.
You know, what I had to do is I had to get used to not like talking to people about other people's business. Like, you think, oh yeah, I ran into Joe the other day, and I put his house in market, they're moving. Maybe I shouldn't say it, it's not my place to tell these people that Joe or whoever selling their house, you know? Maybe he wants to tell them, like a mutual friend. So I learned to just keep my mouth shut. Because I thought at first I was promoting myself, oh, you know, all these people are doing business for me, these people you know, and I was now shooting myself in the foot. It's already it's always good practice, right? Keep things confidential. Okay, so I'm gonna finish reading through this and keep moving. I guess the point to all this, I guess the point is that all the research we just analyzed ensures us the most appropriate price entry point. Now, shouldn't we care? Now, we really shouldn't care when the right person says lots of ones they see within your designated time frame, correct? Therefore, if someone is ready, willing, and able to pay $275 for your home today and sees it on the first day on the market, we should expect an offer. Would you agree? So this is just kind of taking them down a bit. Okay, so once the appropriate price entry point has been determined, you can set the boundaries for a win-win working relationship. So back to this. If the expectation was the seller's number one priority, cover mutual expectations before price, but this is rare. So transitional phrase, let's switch gears for a moment. Now that we have agreed on the price entry point, there's one more area we need to cover. It's been my experience that conflict arises when expectations differ. When you agree, great. And with that in mind, let me share with you what I feel you have the right to expect from me in my role as your selling consultant. As you can see, my pledge to you is, and hand them a my role with you. This is going to seal the deal for it right here. This is going to get you this, I guarantee you. This will get you over the hump. Hand them that my role. Here's an example. Again, don't put anything on here you don't intend to do. What you can expect from me, Zac Taylor, as you listen and consult them, treat all parties fairly and honestly, as I have to. Always ensure we keep a win-win relationship. Respect your time, needs, and finances. Stay focused on satisfying your needs. Communicate openly and frequently. That's how number 4, be careful of how needy the seller is. Right? Their needs might be to talk to you daily. Explain to me what your needs are. What do you mean by that? Communicate openly and frequently. Represent your best interests in any and all negotiations. Put your interests above all others, including my own. That's something they'll know what your share responsibility is. This is explaining in layman's terms. Provide continuous, comprehensive market information and recommend the best pricing strategy. Help prepare your home for effective staging and showing. market and promote, be careful with number 9 too. Well, you said you would help, no, that's good for her.
Oh,
Find help.
Right.
Just don't get yourself, don't shoot yourself, don't put your foot in your mouth. In other words, don't go too far down this road. Just cover the basics, these are good examples, but again, only things you expect to do.
maybe just add prepared list.
What's that?
A prepared list.
Hey, good idea. Good
Yeah.
feedback, yeah.
Things for you to do.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Ooh. Yeah, yeah. Lawn care services.
Here's a separate marketing and promotion, and again,
That
if
might
you
be a
don't
good
do
thought.
it, don't list it,
Yeah.
because they're gonna check with your neighbor, do you have postcard? Yeah, no, it's not, you can send out those damn postcards. So once the home's listed, I will initiate the following 7-step marketing strategy. Ooh, 7 steps, like a 7-layer bill, man, you know to me, bill. And it's just got a lot of ingredients, right? Number 1, install the yard sign, staff the yard. Hopefully not the sewer pipe or the sprinkler line. Number 2, place the home in MLS. Anybody ever bust a sprinkler line sign?
Oh.
I've never done it, but I sold the house to the other agent did,
Oh,
and we turned that sprinkler on, and right where the sign was, I started
Oh,
shooting.
no.
Oh, man.
Or stab the yard, right?
Yeah.
Stab the sprinkler line. Place the home in MLS. What's that mean? You might have to explain that a little bit. And it goes out to 70 other websites, IDX feed from there. So I'm gonna place your home in MLS, I'm gonna place it on Zillow, I'm gonna place it on Realtor. You can have a whole list of real, damn, that sounds like a lot of work. Very nice to find out, right? They're not gonna do anything.
I'm doing it all.
It happens automatically. Prepare color home flyers. I mean, 2021, I would take that off the list. The biggest pain in the butt with that is you gotta keep going and refilling the damn flyer thing. Hopefully it won't take long.
All the neighbors take.
Oh,
And yeah, the neighbors, somebody who wants a house will take them all, so nobody else gets it.
that's true. Oh, Lord.
What do they call
Oh, yeah, QR scanner.
Yeah, put a QR
Put a QR scanner, yeah.
Yeah, QR scan goes with it. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Tape it to the.
And that looks really professional.
Yeah, put it on your sign.
Right,
Or put it
yeah.
on your sign.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you. Advertise home on beneficial websites, yeah. Notify the area's top agents. And how you do that is, through an email blast, probably go to their spam inbox. Hold public open houses, you might want to be specific on this.
Yeah.
A small print, but up
And
to
then tape it on, right?
up to
Yeah.
6 hours, whatever,
Or, yeah.
limit yourself on that. They might think you're supposed to do it every weekend
Right.
until it sells. And you can only do that with one or two listings. You're only one person.
Well, yeah, especially if you're divorced, have custody, you should, whatever that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
got a life besides real estate. Number 7, notify area neighbors. Make sure you do this and you put it on there. You're gonna door knock 25 doors, do it. You're gonna call 50 neighbors, do it. You're just gonna mail the just listed cards, do that. They're gonna check.
Zach, can I get into the number 3 on there, the prepare color home flyers? I do notice that buyers tend to like the ones that are in the house. Like when you go visit a listing, and you have them there like in a little brochure type thing, and it has more information, or, just
Yeah.
readily available.
Yeah.
Yes, like that kind of stuff. And you have the flyers talked about walking distance to here and that, and they like that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, so instead of.
Not out in the yard, but in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not thinking outside the box, enough. Inside the box.
Yeah. I know Tammy Cooper, every listing, she has like a feature sheet that she prepares to leave up.
Some people get books printed out, like
Christine does that
The
too.
one offer I got accepted in the last 3 months, they had like books printed up in the house, and I was like, that was such a waste, they had 18 offers. I did the second day, I was like, what a waste of money, and they printed up all these freaking, like not a trifle, like a book. I'm like, first of all, the house was that great, not a book.
The books are a lot.
I was like, I just threw away a bunch of money.
Oh.
All right, so maybe it's a 6-step.
They probably
strategy.
thought it was a
Whatever you want,
success,
it's yours to do. You can have an 8
Maybe
step, you
probably
can have a
thought
10
this is
step.
why.
Okay, so agree on the marketing plan. Again, talking about that and what's going to be done right. It's important to gain agreement each step of the way. After reviewing the marketing plan, ask the following questions. After reviewing my marketing plan, do you feel you're going to be well exposed and promoted? Hopefully. Is there anything in this plan that concerns you or that you'd like to change? You want to gain agreement? Once you have gained agreement on your role as a consultant, change the focus to their role as a cooperating seller. Now, since this is going to be a partnership, even though I was going to ask for something from you, let me share with you what I feel I have a right to expect from you in your role as my partner, and the seller, your role and review. What you, Mr. Seller, what Zac Taylor expects from you, sir. Number one, keep the home available, presentable, neat, and smelling nice at all times. Subjective stuff.
Did you add the third one?
I didn't, but that's a good one. Number two, follow the agreed upon staging plan. Make the beds in the morning. Clean up the dog in the park.
Robbie will mow on.
Number three, complete all repairs as agreed. So they agree, yeah, we're gonna take this and clean that and do that. Keep your yard mowed. There we go. Small time. Cover your backside from that kind of vague statement you had in your role, right? Let's make it clear, this is your responsibility, seller. Number five, this is something I always throw out there. Keep all valuables and prescriptions in a safe place. I have shown houses where I've seen prescription drugs lined up on the bathroom counter. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And you know, to even worse than that is that I had an open house one time, this is probably like 8 years ago. And the lady that I was doing the open house for, she had her dad living with her, and her dad was elderly. And he had a heart operation or something like that. So he was taking these little heart medications, but they were little, like blue or red, like real small. And one of the kids that was at the open house leaned up on the couch. You know how the couch, she was probably like 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old, leaned up on the couch, and she stuck her hands in the inside the cushion, and she pulled out a little bit. We happened to be there. But if she would have put that thing in her mouth, she would have died. You know, just from a few
Handguns too, or something that's serious, or either you got stolen or somebody had hurt themselves. People leave handguns like controlled, not in plain sight, but like whenever somebody might look, hide that stuff. People do look through drawers, closets, all that stuff, get into furniture. You have to be very careful. So handguns, jewelry, and prescription drugs are always a big thing. Like, that's something I want to put that stuff away. Like I've shown houses with expensive watches sitting on the nightstand. You're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
You're asking for stuff to get stolen.
Yeah.
I mean, even an honest person would steal a Rolex.
But you know, I've seen it at one person that was getting something stolen from their house, and it was a game control.
That's
I
so
never even thought
weird.
about that.
I had that happen, this Game Boy games, a little.
Game Boy, they were little, and the kid had to have put it in his pocket while.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen. I showed the house, and I noticed there was a bunch of Game Boy, like little games, just back when Game Boys were big, just sitting on this kid's dresser, and I'm like, that, I didn't have any kids with me, but the listing agent called me and asked me, they said, hey, some of those games disappeared. Do you think you'll find them out of the pocket of one? I was like, no, I'm not finding them. But no kids, thought they had an interest in Game Boy games, but you can't prove it.
Yeah.
No one can admit to it. I wouldn't even go back and ask my client or something.
Yeah, no kidding.
That'd be crazy, man.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna get it back pretty much when it's
Yeah.
stolen. So
Yeah.
But if there's one thing, it's that, it's because people forget about it.
They don't pay, they don't pay. You're gonna have random people in here, they're gonna be with the licensed agent, but what if they have 4 kids running? You know, it's like, you never know. They're running all over, they can't control them, you can't control them, you can't watch it. Number 6, if they will leave the home for all showings if possible. I always tell them, if you can't leave, at least go outside, like the baby's sleeping or whatever, you know, you don't want to leave, but you don't want to pass them showing you know. But try to leave the home. Don't discuss terms with buyers or their agent without being present, of course. Don't call agents for feedback. Be completely honest on seller's disclosure. Keep all marketing information displayed. Let me know if it's running low. Market your homes to friends and acquaintances. Inform me of leaving the home for more than a week. Notify me immediately if these are expectations change, and be brutally honest with me if you feel I'm not meeting your expectations. I'm gonna take that one off.
Yeah, I don't
I got you under contract.
Please communicate with me.
Answer my texts, answer my calls, or
Yeah.
respond to me.
So once it's listed, I mean, how often do you go back to the house much or not? Once it was,
Personally, let's have a showing, or if no one's there, like if it's a vacant house and someone's out of town, I'll go back and check on them once a week, sometimes twice a week.
but if the owners are around.
There's no reason to be there, there's no reason to go back. I just check on my sign once in a while, sure, if it's a long-term thing. Right now, it's not an issue.
What if
Okay,
it's
make
like,
sure, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, what if it's an investor who does live in town, but you know, he has like multiple properties? Do you still go check on it?
No, that's still his responsibility. Yeah, and you really don't want to get too far down in that because.
I was gonna say, don't do that because
It's covered in the listing agreement that you're not responsible. That's not how much point out to say, this is your responsibility. I'm not gonna be coming to check on it and doing this.
yeah, because it happened one time on my house, Gladys Street, where the pipes busted.
Where you from?
On Gladys, the pipe busted, and the seller was like, hey, you know.
You didn't notice?
You
You didn't call
Oh,
anybody?
Dude, I don't know why. Yeah, we talked about it, and he was a friend of mine. I was like, dude, I mean, you're responsible for your own house.
Yeah.
We talked about this a long time ago. But what happened was I would go by there and check on just to kind of see what was after showing. Because if you leave a door open over there, somebody's going in.
Yeah.
So at times I would go there and check to see if, they've locked doors or whatever it is. But that one time it froze, it was pipes together.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. It's a slippery slope. You don't want to step on it. Just make it clear what your responsibilities are and what your liabilities are. It's covered in the listing agreement, but still, I'll like to point it out. Nobody does anything anymore. So,
Yeah.
That's very true.
yeah, so one other thing is important to you. So the bottom line is you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page before you ask them to sign. Make sure you're on the same page. And it's going to be easy. Once you finish reviewing the expectations of each role, you must be in agreement so that you and the seller are on the same page. Question, do you think we have clearly defined our roles and expectations? You're going to get a yes, because no one else has ever done this for them, trust me. Do you think they're fair? You're going to get a yes. Is there anything else that should be included? Be careful, I'm going to change it too much on you, but keep throwing on some things. Do you see value in what I do, or do you see more value than in your previous roles? You always get a yes on this, because you're doing things that no one else is doing.
That's true.
You're going to convert a lot more leads this way, trust me. So closing, if the seller has been allowed to self-discover what a working relationship with you would be like, and you've established yourself as a valid professional, closing is a snap. They will sign without hesitation. Closing dialogue. Someone want to read this? Or we can talk about this?
After we've spoken tonight, I feel like we've got to make things a win-win relationship. Would you agree? Do you feel I can handle the job of selling your home?
Yes.
Right. Then let's move ahead with this.
Well, we want to go ahead and visit with another realtor.
Is there anything that they could say or do that would result in you giving them the listing?
No, I think we just should see them as made an appointment.
Well, if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to call the other agents and let them know that you've chosen me to be your selling consultant. That way we don't waste any more time getting them on the market. What do you say? Would you like me to make those calls?
I've already done that. I've offered it, but I've already done it. And a guy that is, what did you tell him?
Just, I want.
Yeah.
Taking that.
So what did you tell him? They wanted to hear it.
That happened to me one time. Cliff Carey called me.
Oh,
He called me and said, hey, just wanted to let you know I took that listing. I know you're with the agents. I was like, what?
No.
But he did, he called me and told me that. And then I called the person that had the equipment and confirmed it. They hired Cliff Carey.
It's almost kind of like there's a big date, somebody calls you to let you know that they just married her.
Yeah.
That's what someone else took it from.
Yeah.
And he did it as a courtesy call, like to,
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I mean.
yeah, he would do that. I could see him doing that.
yeah.
Was
Is
that
he
at
still
West
around?
Creek? No. Was that at, well, he retired. Was that at West Creek?
It was in, Spring Vista.
Okay.
Because he only used to have the whole military.
Dude, they used to market like a multiple of those neighborhoods.
What he used to do, he used to have his cards on base, like in the home.
Oh, yeah, the house lodgings, yeah. Yeah, and man, he had sold 66 listings back then, listings, in 1 year, and I was impressed.
Yeah, he was,
Guy gets it done, he was serious, he was
yeah, he was.
Yeah, but you never saw him, he was a top producer.
So I had a person do that to me, and I offered to call the code agents, and they said, no, no, that's fine, we'll just go ahead and tell them we're being using, that rebate house. Because they did a flat fee listing.
Yeah, $1,000.
Yeah, where you just have money to do it, but,
I'm like, that guy obviously sucks at what he does, man. Like, seriously, to charge that little, you're not gonna get much in return. I mean, you're leaving more money on the table than what you would pay me.
what killed me was that rebate house had listed the home right next door to the one that I went to, and it been on the market for 60-something days, and it was a 2-story listed as a 1-story.
Yeah, but what they've done really well,
Sloppy, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
what
get
they've
called
done
back.
really well is they partnered with builders. That
Yeah.
really nice. They've done that very, very well.
Well, if you have that kind of rebate or that kind of discount in your listing, it's easy because you can double in these deals and almost do it for free. I did those move up programs before, and it works, you get listings from builders, but you really want. I guess if that's your knowledge,
That is a,
not mine. I'd rather do 20 deals at full commission than 60 deals at 1%.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that way you're working a lot harder for a lot less.
Yeah, I'd rather focus on my clients that really, take care of
I think it depends on your model. I think that rebate house has probably 30, 40 agents that work for it. It's kind of like what David Schrader did. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he did. He did volume like crazy.
Yeah, he used to do all the
He
down.
did a lot of move up stuff.
He did everything.
Yep.
And he was all, and if you go to his classes, he'll talk to you about market share. That was the important thing for him.
Yeah, grab market share. Yeah, he tried to coach me, he gave me a few freebies, they wanted $2,000 a month, I was like, you're good, but you need that deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't paying $2,000 for I forget what it was, the summit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some guys that made a lot of money that were teaching that stuff. It was already stuff I was doing, so. Like, you're just doing volume, because you have 20 agents under you. And like, you're listed as an individual. And of course you do $1 million a year. No, I would too. Or $2 million a year, or whatever. So, momentum close. Let's at least do this. Since we're here together, let's complete the listing agreement and read it with you. I'll leave it with you. If you decide you're ready to put the home on the market, when you wake up tomorrow, call me and I will pick it up immediately. This way we don't waste any more time than necessary getting the home exposed. How does that sound? So again, update for 2021, just send them the freaking DocuSign. Fill it out, send it to them in DocuSign. If they want, they click on the link, they sign it, you're good. If not, it'll just sit there. You can send them reminders every day, 3 times a day.
It's automated.
What's that?
Just tell them it's automated.
Yeah.
Send me a
Get
reminder.
that pressure.
Yeah.
15 reminders in 2 hours.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Good luck.
So just like we said, the basic listing conversion process, success stems from duplicable processes and systems. Just like any big company, they have processes and they have systems. That's how you do big value. That's how you make big money, by being organized, right? This is it. This is the freaking roadmap to get you there every time. Every single time. It's a lot. It's thorough. It's more work than you need to do, to be honest. But I will do it every single time, and your conversion rates will go up exponentially. I promise you. Okay, so listing packet tools. So basically, you need a folder. Let's get focused. That's your CMAs, my role, marketing and promotion, your role, and a business card. So a folder, obviously, your CMAs, your role, their role, marketing plan, and a business card. So you need. Some other tools, obviously you want a yard sign, electric tape. I make my photographer take measurements, I don't know that stuff anymore. But that electric tape measure is awesome. That one that you put in the water, measures the whole room.
Our
So,
phones do that now too.
Really?
Yeah, like you can take a
Gotta be an app for
photo
it.
and it'll measure a wall.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Instead of the old.
yeah, it's on every Apple phone at least.
Nice.
It's a measuring tool.
Thank you
Yeah,
for the tech update that I'm not aware of.
yeah. It was news to me.
Heck yeah. You can have a backup tape if you want to bring a measuring tape. Digital camera, you can take your own pictures, not your phone, but the iPhone probably takes better pictures than a medium. I don't even know they sell digital cameras or where you buy them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Target maybe? That's fine.
Best Buy?
Notepad or pen. Yeah, that's what I have too. That's good. It takes very good.
That's for anybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Slip-on shoes, so you don't want 18 lace boots, right? If you're gonna ask to take your shoes off, you don't spend 30 minutes doing that. Socks or stockings with no holes.
Matching socks as well.
Yes.
Matching socks, there you go. And your
It does
listing
make
package.
sense.
And you get your
Each
client
make them the
specific
same
stuff.
color.
I haven't never seen that before.
So some
Right? Magical?
supplemental materials.
Yeah.
I've used.
Here will be the letter you would send the day after, right? Send a thank you card. I really appreciate you entrusting me with the duty of selling your home. Sounds all important, right? I enjoyed meeting and spending time with you, even if you didn't. Say that. I look forward to our journey in getting your home sold. What comes next? Here's a checklist of upcoming activities. This just makes you look more professional. This is better. This is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. All right, some thank you notes. Seller will be interviewing other agents. Still be nice. Seller chose another agent. Hey, I've had this happen. I've had that agent let that listing expire, and they called me after 6 months or a year. And I listed it and sold it. Had this happen more than once, because I was nice when they turned it in. All right, work with that.
Keep my number, you'll be calling back.
Yeah, you be calling me. I know that guy. You be calling me.
Mhm.
Really? I didn't see the gal. Start looking at him all negative. Just because you find that Steve. Yeah, I know that
You're
guy. You'll be
evil.
calling me. Really? But it's wrong. You'll see.
You'll find out for yourself.
Psychological work.
Yeah.
Congratulations on choosing an agent. Fraud. Although we won't be working together, I wish you much success in the sale of your home.
So hurt.
Yeah, you got screws.
Yeah.
And everybody deserves you.
Feel-
All right, guys, that's it in a nutshell.
That was some really good stuff to go with the
Yeah.
stuff I loved with CMA strategies last week.
Yeah,
All set now.
you got a program together. You got a-
Yeah, I do with all the stuff I printed from Independence Title and.
How many people like the my roles, your roles, and the written marketing plan?
I do.
You guys like it? That's the bomb to me, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a game
Well,
changer.
it sets expectations.
Yeah.
And then no one's assuming that the other one's gonna be doing now.
And you start doing this stuff, especially if you're new and you don't have a whole lot of experience, this will make you seem so professional that they're not going to question how many houses you sold, how many different businesses. None of that comes up, because you've already covered everything, you've already shown them you know what you're doing. You display competence, and that's important, because most people don't. Most people try to get by on their charm, numbers, money. Let me tell you what you want to hear. You don't know what the hell I want to hear. So you're making assumptions right off the bat if you're telling someone what they want to hear, unless you know exactly what they want to hear. So if you haven't asked all these questions up front, you can't really tell them what you want to hear. And it just lowers your chances of getting.
I think not doing it, like the flyers and sellers, like meeting with them and giving them information. Then you see when you don't do it after, like, all the things that, well, that's why I should ask all these questions before. If they're showing them houses or before I list their houses and, yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah. I should have done.
It's not-
Now I think about you.
It's not even my house.